Beijing, June 2025.
The Asia Star Awards had long been regarded as a temple of fame, where careers are crowned with gold and fleeting dreams are captured beneath blinding lights. On that night, the Grand Hall seemed to breathe with anticipation. Every detail, from the shimmering gowns brushing across the carpet to the storm of camera flashes, spoke of spectacle and glory. The audience was an ocean of expectation, eyes locked on the stage, hearts racing with the thought of who would rise, who would shine, and who would be remembered. Beneath the polished smiles and rehearsed elegance, however, lingered a quiet tension. The evening promised recognition, but it also carried the weight of something no one could name, something waiting to erupt. When Soo Kai's name was finally called as Best Asian Actor of 2025, the atmosphere cracked open. The sound of applause thundered through the venue, rolling like waves against the walls of the theater. Fans leapt to their feet, banners trembling in their hands, while critics nodded in admiration, acknowledging his artistry with rare unanimity. It was, by every measure, a pinnacle moment, one that should have defined his career and etched his name further into cinematic history. Yet as Soo Kai walked toward the podium, there was a sense that the award, brilliant as it was, would not be the centerpiece of the night. He moved with the composure of a star accustomed to the spotlight, but his eyes carried something heavier, something unspoken. As he reached for the microphone, the grandeur of the stage seemed to fade, the lights softening into intimacy. The crowd, still cheering, began to hush, almost instinctively sensing that what was about to unfold would go beyond performance, beyond the glitter of recognition. It was as if the theater itself, with its velvet seats and vaulted ceilings, leaned forward to listen. The expectation shifted from celebration to revelation, and in that suspended silence, a new story began to form, not of trophies or titles, but of humanity breaking through the facade of fame. In those moments, the stage was no longer just a platform of honor. It became the threshold of something far greater, a truth waiting to be spoken, a love waiting to be unveiled, and a memory that would ripple far beyond the gilded walls of the Asia Star Awards. As Soo Kai stood beneath the blinding lights, the golden statue heavy in his hand, there was a pause that seemed to stretch across the room. Applause had just begun to fade when he lifted his gaze, and in that instant something in the air shifted. His eyes, so often admired for their calm strength on screen, now carried a vulnerability that could not be masked.
The audience, sans signite, leaned into the silence.
This was not the rehearsed gratitude of an actor at the peak of his career. This was the trembling voice of a man about to step beyond the safety of performance and into the rawness of truth. When he spoke, his words carried the weight of both triumph and tenderness. "This award," he began, his voice unsteady yet resolute, "is not just mine. It belongs to the two people who have given me more than any accolade ever could, my wife Songyun, and the life she is carrying within her." In that moment, the hall seemed to stop breathing. The cameras froze mid-click, the audience gasped in disbelief, and then a silence fell so deep it felt sacred. For years, rumors had whispered of their closeness, their bond hidden behind polite smiles and professional distance. Yet here, before the eyes of millions, Soo Kai dissolved the wall between speculation and certainty. It was not a press release. It was not a carefully managed revelation. It was a confession born of love, spoken without armor, offered to the world as simply and as beautifully as truth itself. His words reached beyond the glittering audience, beyond the velvet seats of the theater, spilling into homes, hearts, and lives across continents. He was no longer just the actor celebrated for his craft. He was a man who dared to lay bare his soul. And there, at the heart of his confession, was not the glow of celebrity but the quiet fire of devotion. He did not speak of box office success or artistic triumph. He spoke of his anchor, his companion, the woman who had believed in him when doubt threatened to silence him. He spoke of the child who had already redefined his sense of purpose. What began as an award acceptance turned into something greater, a declaration that fame fades, but love, once revealed with such clarity, resonates far beyond the boundaries of a stage. In that instant, Soo Kai transformed not only his legacy, but the meaning of what it is to be truly seen. The confession alone was enough to send shockwaves across the hall, but what happened next etched itself into memory with a force no one could have anticipated. As the final words of gratitude slipped from Soo Kai's lips, he lowered the microphone and, with quiet determination, descended from the stage. The golden statue he had just claimed seemed forgotten in his hand, overshadowed by something infinitely more precious. Every eye followed his steps as he moved through the blinding lights, the cameras scrambling to capture what felt less like a performance and more like destiny unfolding. In the front row sat Tan Songyun, radiant in a gown that shimmered like starlight, her face luminous with tears that spoke of pride and relief. For months she had been the subject of whispers and speculation, her private joy weighed down by the curiosity of the world. Yet in this moment, the veil of secrecy dissolved. When Su Kai reached her, the noise of the theater faded to a hush so complete it felt as though time itself had been suspended. He reached for her face with a tenderness that cut through every layer of spectacle, his eyes fixed on hers with a devotion too pure to doubt. Then, before the world, he bent down and kissed her. It was not the polished kiss of a red carpet photo call, nor the scripted romance of a film. It was raw, unguarded, a merging of gratitude and love so overwhelming that even the most seasoned reporters lowered their cameras, moved not as professionals but as witnesses. In that instant, Su Kai was not China's leading man, not the celebrated actor of the year. He was simply a husband and a father-to-be, claiming his family with unshaken pride. The reaction was volcanic. Applause erupted like thunder, tears flowed freely across the audience, and even those who had come only for the glamour found themselves swept into the storm of emotion. The kiss traveled beyond the walls of the theater, carried live through broadcasts and instantly immortalized online. It was replayed, shared, and celebrated across languages and cultures, a symbol of love so fierce it transcended borders. For Asia, and indeed for the world, it was a reminder that true greatness is not measured by trophies, but by the courage to love openly. That kiss was more than affection. It was a promise, a declaration, and a moment that shook an entire continent with its sincerity. The internet exploded. Hashtags like hashtag #FamilyManSukai and hashtag Tan Songyun LoveStorm trended worldwide within minutes. Fans in Seoul called it the greatest K-drama finale, but real. Viewers in Tokyo wrote, "This is purer than any movie script." From Paris to Los Angeles, people weren't just celebrating a star, they were celebrating a man who dared to love openly. Parenting forums replayed the clip, calling Su Kai a role model for future fathers. Relationship counselors shared his words in workshops. Even university professors used the moment as a case study in media, masculinity, and vulnerability. But the story doesn't end on stage. Insiders reveal the couple has been preparing quietly for parenthood, setting up a nursery filled with books, toys, and family photographs. They've even been spotted browsing baby stores hand in hand, choosing everything from tiny socks to storybooks, dreaming of the life ahead. Tan Songyun, known for her charm and grounded personality, has reportedly been journaling throughout her pregnancy, hoping one day to share those words with her child. Meanwhile, Su Kai, once labeled the heartthrob of China, is embracing a new role, the doting father-to-be who reads aloud to the baby every night. This wasn't just a celebrity moment, it was a cultural shift. In an industry often obsessed with perfection and image, Su Kai and Tan Songyun showed the world something far more important, that vulnerability is strength, and that family is the greatest award of all. One day, their child will watch that speech, see that kiss, and know that their life began in front of millions, not with fame but with love. And that, dear viewers, is why June 2025 will be remembered not just as Su Kai's golden year, but as the night he turned an award show into a love story that shook an entire continent. If this story moved you, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you won't miss the next chapter of Asia's biggest stars, right here on News Star CN. Thank you for watching, and until next time, remember, the brightest stars are those who shine with love.